It's time to blow your own mind. Yes. Hi there, and welcome back to the Lisa Nichols Show, where I share the tools that you and I, all of us need so that we can achieve the life, the experiences, and have the memories that we want to have. You know, I absolutely love reading your comments. Last night, I was sitting with my father and I was reading your comments, and we had such a great time. My dad asked, "Lisa, are all of these friends of yours?" And I said, "Yeah, this is my community." I love your engagement. I love watching how you get value from the episodes that we posted. In the episode, How to Disconnect from Negative People with Kindness. Oh, I love this. Desire T replies, "Thank you for the 3 steps. I've been needing this technique. This entire episode was a hashtag BOL, breakthrough out loud, especially leaving people with their hashtag dignity intact." Yes, yes, yes. Desire T goes on to say, "I think I just grew up a little more." I love it. And Mark Dudley says, hashtag BOL, breakthrough out loud. You guys know I love when you BOL me. He says, "Thank you for this. I had to break from people who did not value my life. This was helpful in doing so." I love it. You know what I love about when you, with dignity, are able to release people. I always say there's no breakups. They don't have to end. In order for a friendship or relationship to come to completion, there doesn't have to be brain splatter on the ceiling. There doesn't have to be a right or wrong. There's just a we're complete. And even when there's a wrong, you don't have to highlight that. I realize that people are only able to love you to the degree in which they're able to love themselves. So this particular episode is one of my favorites because the quality of your life in your later years will not be determined by how much money you have in your bank account, how many houses you have, how many cars you have in the driveway. The quality of your life will be summed up to you by the quality of the relationships that you've had. And so when a relationship is taking a shift, make sure that it takes a shift with hashtag everybody's dignity intact. You know, our relationships around us are so dynamic. And what I mean by that is relationships move. Relationships expand and contract. Relationships are not static. They don't always require the same amount from you. So number one, in relationships, live parked between fluid and flexible. That's where I park. Every day I pull up and I park between fluid and flexible because some days I have to expand to give the relationship more, and other days it requires me to contract so that I can hold the energy that I need for me. So relationships are designed to be a dynamic exchange. That's the baseline of a relationship. It's a dynamic exchange. Now, the reality is that some of us are givers and some of us are receivers. And that's just true. It's just, I don't know if it's biological. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know. You got to consult someone else for that. But I do know that there's some of us we're happy in our giving mode. And it's actually a little awkward to receive. And then there's others, and we like to call them takers, but they're not takers. They're receivers. Because a receiver doesn't have to take, because if a receiver gets with the giver, all you got to do is be present and available to receive. So I don't like to call it takers because then it makes it malicious for them. And that's not the case. Now, there are people who are users. That's very different. I think the dynamic of relationships are there's receivers and there's givers. And what I found was that givers, I'm a giver, we actually feel more comfortable with the receiver. Oh, and then we get upset because they don't give to us. Like, cray cray. we actually seek out, and I say we seek out receivers. We love our givers in our space, but that almost pushes our buttons a bit, because then we have to learn how to receive when we're with another giver. And so number one, recognize and be honest and own and celebrate who you're in relationship with. Whether that's romantic, whether that's family, whether that's friendship, whether that's colleague. Because every relationship is just that. It's a relationship, right? And there's a dynamic exchange. Now, the ideal relationship, not the perfect one, because there's no perfect relationship, but the ideal is that you have two people who've fully exercised and developed their give muscle. And they fully exercise and developed their receive muscle as well. It takes some getting used to, and it takes discipline, and it takes intention. So when you're in a relationship and you're giving, it's probably because you're not asking for what you need. In fear of being let down, in fear of hearing no, in fear of, being betrayed, in fear of being abandoned, in fear of ... You're not asking for what you need. And so the onus isn't on them to fill in the blank and read your mind. I always tell people I do a lot of things well, but I don't read minds well. And that's pretty much all of us. So your job is to give voice to your needs before it becomes a complaint, before it becomes an angst and a pain in your side. Is to say, here's what feels good to me. Here's what really supports me. Here's what makes me feel valued. And to learn celebration. Because what gets celebrated gets repeated. So learn the art of celebration over and above when someone does something, and to celebrate from a place of real fulfillment, to go, this makes me happy when you do this. They'll make a little note. You might have to tell them 5 times, this makes me so happy when you do this. Because repetition is the mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, and second cousin of learning. So just because you said it one time doesn't mean they should remember it. This makes me really happy when you do this. And again, so you acknowledge. That way they begin to see the ways that they can give to you. And if you're a superhero, or ladies, a super shero, it's really hard to figure out how to serve us. Like, it's not easy. And I say us, it's really hard. So as a superhero, you have to help people show up for you even more, because they're watching you through the lenses of wow, like WOW. You're a wow person. So they need to see you take off your cape sometime and sit it down. And they need to be able to become your hero, your shero. Oh yeah, that's gonna be work on your behalf as well. Again, all of this has to do with you evolving. So when you evolve and you're able to sit it down, sit the cape down, when you evolve and you're able to ask for genuine help, when you evolve and you're able to not be the hero in every situation, when you evolve and you're able to celebrate the small things, so much so that it inspires them to do just a few more small things, no big things. Because your joy, your big joy, is gonna come from a lot of small moments. Like that moment when someone just stops and holds your hand, or puts their hand on top of your leg, or stops and realizes that you need a little more ice in your glass. The small moments are all you're gonna really sit back and remember in your later years that felt really good. So one, know what serving you looks like. What does serving you look like? What does that even look like? That's been foreign to me for years. People go, what do you like? What is serve? But I know how to serve you. Well, that's the muscle of receiving, needs to be developed by you by even knowing what receiving looks like. So I always go, what's my Popeye muscle and what's my olive oil muscle? My Popeye muscle is giving. My olive oil muscle, you know, that muscle that's like a negative muscle. And if you're too young to know about Popeye and olive oil, oh my God. So learn how to receive is as much about learning communication, sitting down your cape, asking for what you need, celebrating service when it comes to you. You do that, and now you're literally redesigning the relationship of being with you without complaining. Relationships don't require fixing because they're not broken. people have an opportunity to adopt new behaviors. And when you adopt new behaviors as an individual and you're with another individual, the relationship takes a dynamic shift. So don't fix a person, don't fix a relationship. Adjust your behaviors, adjust the way you receive, adjust the way you ask for what you need, adjust the way you celebrate others, adjust the way you take your cape off and you ask for help. And then the people around you have a natural shift. Or they'll clearly let you know that the relationship is complete. Remember, this show is not just a monologue. It's not about me talking to you. I mean, to me, some of the richest part of this conversation is what you say. It's the conversation that goes on below this video. It's the dynamic exchange that people have. I've read your comments, and at times I've pulled something new out of the message that I delivered because of your comment. Or I read your comment and there's a aha for me because I needed it at the time that I read your comment. So listen, I love when you comment. I would love to hear from you. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from this particular episode? Like, are you a receiver? Are you a giver? Are you a giver who hasn't learned how to receive? Are you someone who's now ready to learn how to communicate what you need? Is that your lesson? Is that the next 90 days of focus, learning how to put words to your desires? Ooh, leave me a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And always look out for more delicious dynamic dialogue on this channel. We keep it real, we keep it right, we keep it straight, no chaser, because this is always going to be your home. And we are always going to be your tribe. And I am always going to be your sister in prosperity and in possibility. And every time we connect, I want you to hear me when I say, I believe in you and I love you. Because I do. I'm your girl, and I'll see you real soon. Peace out.